What is the darkest thing you've ever done and don't regret? When I was 12, my little brother Calder had leukemia. The treatments were brutal, but he never complained. He'd just smile through the nausea and ask if I'd read him another chapter. Our neighbor Mr. Thorne would visit sometimes, bringing Calder comic books and sitting with him when Mom was at her second job. Everyone thought he was this saint, helping our struggling family. Thorne was a deacon at the local Baptist church, coached Little League, had fish stickers all over his truck. People would tell Mom how blessed we were to have such a godly man looking out for us. Calder loved those visits at first. Thorne would bring Superman comics and tell him stories about heroes who never gave up. For a 7-year-old losing his hair and throwing up daily, those stories meant everything. But something changed. Calder would get quiet after Thorne's visits, staring at the ceiling instead of asking for another chapter. When I'd ask what was wrong, he'd just shake his head. One Tuesday, I came home early from school with a stomach bug. Mom was at work, and I heard voices from Calder's room. I crept down the hallway and peeked through the door. Thorne was sitting on Calder's bed, pointing to pictures in a medical book, telling my dying brother that God was punishing him for being impure. Cancer doesn't just happen, Calder, Thorne said calmly. God sees everything. He knows about the times you've touched yourself inappropriately. That's why he's making you sick. Calder was bald from chemo, pale as a ghost, clutching his stuffed elephant while tears streamed down his face. I didn't mean to be bad, Mr. Thorne. I was just scared and it hurt. You need to confess to your mother, Thorne interrupted. Tell her what you've done. Maybe if you're truly sorry, God will heal you before it's too late. My brother was shaking. But what if Mama thinks I'm bad too? I listened to my dying brother beg this monster not to tell our mom he was going to hell. I waited until Thorne left, then called his house. His wife, Narita, answered. Mrs. Thorne, this is Calder's brother. I need to tell you something about your husband. I told her everything. How he was psychologically torturing a dying child, convincing him cancer was God's punishment. Long silence. Then, that's a very serious accusation from a very young boy. She hung up. I found the church directory and started calling every number. Pastor Elgin, the youth minister, choir director. Then I called Thorne's workplace. Thorne showed up that night, pounding our door. Mom had just gotten home from her hospital shift. Odessa, you need to control your son. He's spreading vicious lies about me all over town. Thorne pushed past her, face red with fury. Your boy's been calling everyone, making up stories. It's slander. Mom looked at Calder, who'd come out of his room. His face went white seeing Thorne. Calder, Mom said gently, is there something you need to tell me? Don't listen to him, Odessa. The boy's confused from medication, Thorne said. But Calder looked at Mom with scared eyes. Mama, he whispered, Mr. Thorne said God gave me cancer because I was bad. He said I have to tell you or I'll go to hell when I die. Color drained from Mom's face. What kind of bad things, baby? Like when I touch myself because the medicine makes me hurt. Mr. Thorne said that's why God is making me sick. Thorne's face changed. Mom walked to the door. Get out. Never come back. The next morning, Pastor Elgin called. 3 other families had come forward overnight. Thorne had been telling their sick children similar things. The church asked Thorne to step down. The hardware store fired him after customers started avoiding the place. Calder died 6 weeks later, peaceful, in his sleep, holding my hand. At the funeral, Thorne tried to approach our family. 3 church members physically blocked him. I don't regret destroying that man's life. Calder spent his final weeks believing God loved him.